So in part 3 of the video series, what we're going to discuss is what we're keeping our eyes on. Even though we just discussed that we don't believe this housing market is anything like 2005 to 2008, doesn't mean we shouldn't be paying attention to what can happen in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months now, right? And what we're keeping our eyes on to ensure that we don't see any similarities to that market. So the first and most important topic in today's market is housing affordability. Although interest rates are pretty low from historical standards, they are much higher than what they were in 2020 and 2021. We were writing loans at sub 3% for most of homeowners. Well, today we're writing loans at 5%. We've seen the highest 90-day increase in interest rates in over 25 years. At the end of December 2021, US 30-year mortgage interest rates were 3.11%. Here at the end of March, we're at a 4.67% interest rate. That 3-month increase of 1.5% is larger than any increase since 1987. How will these rising interest rates affect housing affordability? And have interest rates peaked? Or are they going to continue to increase? If we're writing 5% interest rates today, will we be writing 5.5% in a few months? Will we be writing 6%? And if we are, what will that do to housing affordability? So let's compare the current housing affordability price index to previous years. The chart below only measures January, where interest rates were significantly lower than they are today at the end of March, beginning of April. With an interest rate of 4.9%, we would be around 121. At the peak of the housing bubble, the index was at 147. So we're still far below this level, even with the massive increase in interest rates. However, it is clear to see that houses are the least affordable they've been since the housing bubble, and we have to determine if this will continue. So another question and data we're continuously keeping our eyes on is that will this increase or more difficulty in housing affordability lessen the demand of our market? Here are a couple charts to keep your eyes on. According to Redfin, a record 45% of homes that went under contract had an accepted offer within 1 week of hitting the market, up 3 percentage points from a year earlier. Additionally, a record 59% of homes that went under contract had an accepted offer within the first 2 weeks on the market, up 4 percentage points from a year earlier. With record percentages of homes under contract in 1 week and in 2 weeks, we can clearly see that demand still hasn't been weakened. But will this continue? Another chart to keep our eye on is current relists. When demand weakens, more contracts fell. We haven't really seen that the past 2 years. Buyers were very eager to get their home closed. Why? Because a lot of buyers went out and offered on 3, 5, 7, 12 houses. So when they finally get one accepted, they really wanted to close. So now we have to watch out. Will we still continue to see buyers at today's interest rates still wanting to close their loans as much as they did a year or 2 years ago? Some more data to keep your eye on is cancellation of new builds. According to Tracy Reiniak, equity strategist at Zacks Research, she had a recent interview with Toll Brothers, which is a top 5 largest builder of new construction homes in the United States. And they have seen a slight increase of cancellations from 3.3% to 4.3% in the month of February. But as we know, this is nothing compared to where cancellations were from 2005 to 2008, where cancellations were about 39%, and the historical average is around 7%. So even though cancellations of these new construction homes are starting to increase, we're still well below the historical average, and we're not even in the same realm of where we were during the financial crisis. And lastly, the easiest one to pay attention to is inventory. As covered in video series part 1, we know that inventory is at all-time lows. It was pretty much cut in half during the pandemic. Will we start to see it increase? Well, we're entering April, May, June. Normal seasonality says it should increase. But how much is it going to increase is the question we're going to be keeping our eyes on. Another way to look at inventory is a year-over-year perspective. Inventory, which is already decreasing every single month, is actually decreasing less than the previous month. So let me explain. In January, we had a decrease in inventory of around 30%. In February, we're around 25% decrease in inventory. And in March, we can actually see low 20s or high teens decrease in inventory. So theoretically, we can believe that by the end of this year, we can actually start to see an increase in inventory year over year, and that can add some major relief to our current real estate market. So if we see a year-over-year increase of inventory, people might wonder, well, now supply might outpace demand. Well, let me show you. We're not even close to the 2005 to 2008 levels. The chart below shows a small uptrend in the years leading up to the Great Recession, followed by a quick and massive uptrend where inventory was nearly 400% more than it is today. So in the United States, we have about 860,000 as of January homes listed for sale. Well, at the peak, we were at over 4 million homes listed for sale. So we're such a wide margin away that inventory has so much to go for us to even be slightly worried. So to recap what we're keeping our eyes on, how will these increasing interest rates affect housing affordability? Will we start to see current relists increase? Will we start to see the demand weaken where homes aren't going under contract in 24, 48, 72 hours? Will we start to see more cancellations of new construction? These are all things we're keeping our eyes on. And before I end, I just want to highlight that all of this data was curated by some amazing people. We're going to go ahead and highlight their Instagram and their Twitter usernames so that you guys can go follow and check them out. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. If you have any questions or feedback, don't be afraid to reach out.